Welcome back. In this section, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to, this is kind of like the meat and potatoes of real estate, if you like, or to use a football analogy, the blocking and tackling. We're going to learn how to run a search. We're going to learn how to save it so we can come back to it later. Then we're going to learn how to sort the results of the search, and finally how to share them either by email or by printing. So let's start with a search, and we're going to use a standard search. So we're going to go to Searches Standard, and let's pretend that we are the condo kings and queens of Pasadena. So we've got residential, condominium. I'm going to come down to city. Now notice when we do city, it works much the same as that area tool I showed you. It doesn't actually want you to type Pasadena. Once you start typing, it will limit the results, and when you select Pasadena, it's going to put in the abbreviation for Pasadena. Okay, so we've got a very simple search: residential, condominium, Pasadena. If we come down, we'll notice that active is checked by default. Let's do a preview count. Preview count is up here just above the search thing, and it's very useful because if you made a boo-boo, you'll find out quickly. If you come back with 0 results, well, you know you put something in wrong. I mean, we know there are condos available in Pasadena. If you come back with 5,000, you know you made a boo-boo. We know there aren't 5,000 of them. Okay, so here it's showing us that there are 102. And what we want to do now is save this search so we can come back to it in the future. And you'll remember we did this in the map at the end of the last section. We're going to go to Options. We're going to go to Save as a Saved Search. And this I'm going to save as Pass Condo. Okay? Click Save. You'll notice you get a nice little message saying that your search has been saved. We'll close out of that box. And now we want to go and view the results. So we can do it 2 ways. Easiest way, over to the right of the preview count, view results. And what it's going to do is it's going to take us to a one-line grid. There it is, one-line grid. Why? Because that's what we chose in our preferences with the results of the search. And you'll see that this is sorted by price from lowest to highest. So we've got a whole bunch of them. Now notice that on the one-line grid it says 50 to a page. So we've got 102 listings. That means that we've got a page of 50, a page of 50, and then the last page will be 2. Does that make sense? So we've got it split into 3 pages. Now, sometimes it's useful to be able to further sort the results. And notice up here it says drag a column header here to group by that column. Now you can't group by every column, but you can by some. So for example, if we want to group by area, you actually point at the area itself, not the grey box, but the actual name there. Press and hold the left mouse button. You drag it into the top here, and you'll see that we have 6 out of area. By the way, that's a violation of our rules, so if we were bothered, we could report them. 4 northeast, 7 northwest, southeast, etc. Okay. Now, you can't search by all the different criteria. Okay, so for example, you can't search by price or by days on the market, but you can, for example, search by bedrooms. So I'm going to drag bedrooms in there, and now you'll see we have out of area 0, in other words studio, out of area 1 bed, out of area 2 bed, out of area 3 bed, northeast 1 bed, northeast 2 bed, and you can do this by up to 3. Quite frankly, it doesn't get terribly useful after a while. To get rid of the grouping, all you do is click the X here, and it will drop right back into the area where it was. And I'm just going to magnify again so we can see easier. All right, beg your pardon. Wonderful. So we've got this. Now, we're looking at condos. Wouldn't it be kind of useful if we could maybe see, I know, how much the HOA dues are, or perhaps how many units there are in the development? And, you know, whilst we're at that, I mean, wouldn't it be nice to rearrange these, you know, maybe have the address over here and perhaps get rid of the association and some of the other things we don't want? Well, you can absolutely do that. And the way you do that is in this 3rd menu bar. We're going to come down here to the one that says Customize Grid. So we're going to click on Customize Grid. And the first thing to notice is that up here at the top right, we are in the one-line grid. I would not suggest that you mess with the one-line grid. It's something you're going to use a lot. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is come up here to New. It's going to ask us what we want to call it, and I'm going to call it Condo. and we're going to select OK. You are the only person who is going to see this, and you can actually have as many of these as you want. Okay, so you know, I for example use one that I have for showings that makes it very quick and easy to go through and call, you know, listing agents to schedule showings. But we're just going to create this one for condo. Okay, now you have to imagine that over here on the right we've got this table with rows from top to bottom. You have to imagine that these are columns from left to right. So whatever is at the top will be at the far left side of your columns. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the address here, and what we do is we click on the name. Do not click on the number, click on the name, and in the middle you have a little button that says move up, move down, and we're just going to move that up so it's at the left hand end, and that now means that our address will be the left hand column. We're then going to get rid of some things. I'm going to get rid of association. Again, highlight it. Now there are two buttons. You do not want to select remove all, but we're going to click on remove and it's gone. Okay, I'm going to get rid of some of these other things here. Area conversion code rather. I mean, who cares? I'm going to get rid of the city. I'm going to just get a couple of things out of there. So you can basically delete anything that you want. Now over here in the left are all the fields that are available to you, and there are a ton of them. I mean, you can literally make this search pretty much anything you want. Okay, we're going to add two. The first one we're going to do is units, total, and complex. Now there is nowhere where this list is printed out for you to peruse, so this does take a bit of sort of hunting and pecking and looking and finding, but you know they are pretty much all in here. So I'm going to go to units, total, and complex. That's going to show us how many units are in the HOA. It's asking me where do I want to put it. Well, I want to put it after the price but before the DOM. So notice that the price is 50, DOM is 60. I'm going to say, okay, I want to put it at 55. When I put it in, you'll see that it puts it into the list. Okay, I saved it instead. Silly me. Okay, sorry. Press the wrong button. Isn't it good to prove that you're human every so often? Okay, so we're going to come down here to units, total, and complex. We're going to do 55. We're going to go add, and we've now put that in. Now the other one we're going to add is the HOA. When we come to HOA, you will find that there are a bunch of different things here. Okay, if you click on HOA, that's just going to be the name of the HOA, assuming the listing agent put it in. The one we want is the HOA fee 1. Most condos only have one HOA fee. You can put in the frequency 2 if you want, but mostly it's a monthly fee. So we're going to select HOA fee 1. We're going to add it in the same place, and notice that that now is brought in. Now you need to save your results. So top left, save. Your changes have been saved. Now in the regular world, what you would do is click on back to list, and it would take you right back to the list that we had. But I want to show you the effect of saving a search has. So let's go to searches, saved searches, and notice that we've got the two searches we made here. Okay, so if we go to past condo, there are 3 different choices. If we click on the name itself, it's going to run the search exactly as we saved it. If we click on the magnifying glass, it's going to show us what our search include, the criteria that we have in the search. What we're going to use is we're going to click the third one, which is the pencil and paper. So let's pretend that today we don't want to show all of the condominiums. We only want to show the condominiums up to 450,000. Okay, so let's just do a preview count. We've got 32 of them. We're going to go to view results. Now when we get here, there's going to be a great sense of anticlimax because it looks exactly the same, and well, it is exactly the same because we're in the one-line grid. If we click on the drop down, notice that now at the bottom I have the grid that I just created, the condo 52 a page. And when I click, it says, are you sure? Now I have the list that I want. So over in the left, I've got my address, my listing number. I now have HOA fee, unit, total in the complex. So you can sort these exactly the way you want. Okay. By the way, you are always going to be at the mercy of the listing agent. So I mean, this condo here, 497 South Molino, unit 306. According to the listing agent, there are no units in the association. Are you serious? Come on. Whatever. Okay, now we've got our list. We've got 32 listings found, 32 listings checked. They're sort sorted in the order we told it, which is by status, they're all active, by price. So this is basically the cheapest through the most expensive. And notice the numbers at the left-hand side, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, this is the order they're going to be printed out in. So if this is what you want, your work here is done. You can go and print them, email them, do whatever you want. But most of the time, you're going to want to sort them in some way, okay? There are 3 different ways of sorting. The first way of sorting is that we're going to use the column headers. Now, we chose the column header, okay? So you can literally make a search, anything you want. I mean, you could, for example, sort by fireplace type and say all the wood burning, all the gas, blah, blah, blah. There's no limit to this. You choose the headers. But let's say that our client wants to see the HOA fees, the lowest HOA fees first. So the first time I click on HOA fee 1, and again, don't click in the grey area, click on the name, it's going to sort them from the lowest to the highest. If you ever used Excel, very similar. Okay, when I click it again, you'll see that this little arrow flicks around and now it's highest to the lowest. Over here on the left, all that happened is my numbers got messed up. Well, that's actually quite easy to fix. I just uncheck in the blue toolbar, not toolbar, blue menu bar, recheck, and now I've got them sorted in that order. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's do a different one. Let's say that we want to do it by days on the market. So the first time I click on days on the market, I'll have the newest listing first. My numbers are messed up. I fix that by unchecking, rechecking, and now I could print them out from the newest listing through to the oldest listing. Okay, so that was the first way of doing it, using the column headers. The second way of doing it is using these numbers. Now notice that we have increments of 10, and what that means is that we have 9 slots available between each one. So here what you're going to do is manipulate the numbers. So let's say that you look at this one and you say, oh, I want to show that one at the very beginning. I'm going to call that number 5. Well, 5, of course, will appear before 10. And then I go to the, oh, good Lord, I want to show that one first. So 3, of course, will appear before 5. And I go to the next one and say, oh, I want to show that one first. So basically, we've now got 1, 3, 5, 10, 20. I go down a couple, say I want to show that one, number 15. Pardon me. After a while, you'll just start confusing yourself because it's kind of hard to see where you're at. Now, we want to put them in the right order. How do we do that? Well, we can't use this uncheck and recheck. That's just not going to work. Instead, what we do is we go to the options button, and there are 2 little blue buttons here, blue arrows here. Not the checkbox next to it, the blue arrows themselves. When you click on the 2 blue arrows, you'll see in the background that those numbers have now been resorted 1, 3, 5, 10, 15. Does that make sense? Okay, and having got them in a nice neat order, you can now uncheck and recheck. So the first way we used the column headers, the second way we manipulated the numbers. Now the third way, and frankly the way you're most likely to use this, is by starting with a blank slate. And going this way, what you're going to do is you're going to select the listings you want in the order you want them. So how often are you going to show 32 listings? You're probably not. Okay, so this way what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to say, okay, I'm going to show this one and this one and this one, and then I'm going to show this one and this one, and I'm going to pick 10 listings in the order I want to show them. So we've still got the 32 listings we found, we've got 10 listings checked, I've now got them in the order I want. How do I sort my numbers? Well, the same way. I go back to the options pane, click on the 2 blue arrows. I now have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, okay? Now, to get rid of the ones you're not using, you have 2 choices. And this is probably some sort of psychological test, but personally it freaks me out to remove them, okay? So I personally use the hide all unchecked. But if you're a bold person, pardon me, you can remove the unchecked. So I've hidden them. It basically means I can come back and change my mind if I want. Okay, maybe I'm indecisive, who knows. All right, so we've got 32 listings found, 10 checked. They're in the order in which we want to show them. So now we're ready to go and print. So let's just have a quick review. 3 ways of sorting. The first and easiest is to sort by the column header. The second is to manipulate the numbers. The third is to start with no numbers and click them in the order you want to show them. All right, we're ready to go show them. All right, so we're going to go to reports. Now, reports is how you print out your results. Notice that you can select up to 4 reports to run at one time. There is a danger here. You will see that there are, I think it's 4 different agent reports. Those reports, it is a violation to give those reports to your client. So my advice, run your agent reports completely separate to your client reports. Okay, so I'm going to run an agent summary for me. When I run the report, it comes up. Notice it says right up here, agent summary. It's very hard to accidentally give this to your client. Why do we not want you to give it to your client? It includes things like combo codes, vacant, kids home alone, all those security things that we don't want to give to our client. It also includes the listing agent information and the commission information. Do you really want to share that with your client? Okay, so I think there's a good reason for this. Let's go back and run the reports for our client this time. I'm going to put 2 in together, and the first one I'm going to put is the map listings report, and then I'm going to put in the client summary. So this report is going to have 2 reports in one. When I run the report, the first page will be a map showing my client where the 10 properties we're going to look are on the map. And when I come down, here is the client report. Basically, it's okay to give your client anything that doesn't say agent on it. Okay, so you can, the map report doesn't say that it's for the client, but it doesn't say it's for the agent. So basically, anything that doesn't say agent, it's okay to give to your client. And as you can see, you can now open this as a PDF and print it out. You remember back when we did our admin settings, that was an issue. So let's go back. Let's say that now our client decides that they can't make it into the office, they want us to email it. Very easy. We come across to the email button and we click on email. Now, you have a choice of which report to send. It is not possible to get in trouble here. Notice there are no agent reports. So don't get scared here. There's nothing that can get in trouble. There is a button here for include additional pictures. I'm going to tell you not to use that button. Why? Because if you use that button, what it's going to do is it's going to give a series of little sort of postage stamp size photos, whereas leaving it unchecked, your client will have the option of seeing much better photos, and I'll show that to you in a second. So we're going to go to submit. I'm going to say that I'm going to send this to Bill at CG Cells. That's my domain, and I'm going to name this let's say special listings, how about that World Series exclamation mark. Notice that we have spell check, so we can fix that. Very good. All right, I'm going to send the email. Now, how do you know if your client is opening your emails? Okay, the answer is that our system tracks it for you. So let's go back to the home page, and there are 2 ways of getting there. If you have the agent tools, you'll see there is a view sent email, or you can go to admin view sent email. Let's just come back and do that again. All right, and basically you'll see that it shows you that the report has not been viewed. All right, I should have set this up before, so I'm going to go and do my email button here, and here is the email that came in. So special listings from Chris Griffiths. Now my client looking at the email doesn't do anything. See, it says how about that World Series. Obviously I didn't fix the spelling. When they click this view listings, what it's going to do is it's going to take them in, and this is what tells the system that they have indeed looked. Now notice that for each listing, your client has the choice of looking at the additional pictures, and doing it this way, they get to look at a slideshow rather than those silly little postage stamps. That's why I said don't check the additional pictures, let your client do it on their own. So now when I come in and go to view sent email, you will see that it tells me report viewed. Yes, yay, wonderful stuff. All right, now if your client isn't viewing your email, obviously paranoia runs deep in real estate, but the first thing I would do is check the email address, because more than likely you just mistyped their email address. By the way, if you have this going to multiple emails, in other words, multiple people, there is no way of telling who opened it. It will just tell you that it was opened by one of the people on the email list. So if you're concerned about that, you might want to send separate emails to separate email addresses, and that way you can track whether each person is actually opening it. All right, let's go back to the home page. So we did that, we did that, we did that. Fabulous. I think we're done with that, in which case we're going to come back in the next section and talk about hot sheets. Thank you.